Wins at 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world. Good morning. We're at 48 degrees at 7:40 on this Thursday, October 10th. It's 10-10 Wednesday. Did you know that? I'm Scott Stanford. Here's what's happening. It's making its way out to the Atlantic Ocean this morning, but Hurricane Milton leaves behind a trail of destruction across Florida. Milton's brute force with incredibly heavy winds and winds up to 145 miles per hour with the heavy rain have left more than 3 million Florida customers without power. In the wake of Milton and Hurricane Helene, the Red Cross here in New York City looking for volunteers to head down south. Glenn Chuck's got the details for us there. Well, it was a grand time at Citi Field last night.
It's gone! It's gone! Francisco Lindor! He may have just outdone himself! He has hit a grand slam!
The Mets continue to shock the world. They now move on to the NLCS against either the Dodgers or the Padres. Ready to get into a taxi with no driver?
Sorry about the sun glare, guys.
On the company's robo-taxi plans today. Checking sports. Not only do the Mets clinch, but the Yanks are now a game away from the ALCS. They kick a 2-1 series lead over the Royals. WNBA Finals Game 1 tonight. Liberty taking on the Lynx. Wins News Time, 7:41. Traffic and transit Thursday morning. We get you back out to Karen Stewart.
Well, we're clearing things up on Long Island as we get rid of some accidents that we had on Long Island's Big Three. What's left is the eastbound Southern State with the right lane blocked over at exit 36 for straight path with an accident. Now, again, this is eastbound now. The LIE on the westbound side is dealing with slowdowns around the Seaford Ocean Bay Expressway, exit 39, and from Lakeville Road to the Queens Line. And the Northern State has got some slowdowns. Looks like we even have an accident right before New Hyde Park Road. The westbound delays go back to IU Willits Road. LIRR is running on or close to schedule. Let's get to the boroughs. We've got stuff to talk about. They just cleared a southbound Deacon crash at Fordham Road. But nonetheless, we are still packed from back across county down to Fordham Road on the southbound Deacon. So instead, you are going to take Grand Concourse, the Bronx River Parkway, even the Henry Hudson. Instead, the westbound Grand Central disabled. Steinway Street is still there. The right lane is blocked. It's got the westbound Grand Central Parkway now backed up to Roosevelt Avenue, and it's backing up the west leg of the BQE, getting up to the Grand Central Parkway because it's so busy. And in Queens, the southbound Van Wyck at 101st Avenue has delays. We've got an accident in the right. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. An hour into the Holland, 50 in at the George, and 40 in at the Lincoln Tunnel. Our next report's in less than 10. I'm Karen Stewart, 10-10 wins on that.
Put on your historian sunglasses. The glare is real.
Morning light here on the East Coast now, and officials and first responders in Florida are getting a clearer picture of exactly what type of devastation was caused by Hurricane Milton in the overnight hours. Let's first check in with meteorologist Joe Lundberg, see where Milton is now.
Milton continues to slowly pull away from the east coast of Florida at this hour, but it's left behind a mess in much of the state. Over 3 million customers are without power at this hour in the Florida Peninsula. Flooding is widespread from Sarasota and Tampa to near Jacksonville and Daytona Beach. It may take days for the floodwaters to recede. Winds are still gusting upwards of 60 miles per hour in east central and northeast Florida, with the last of the rain bands moving through, though the winds have abated considerably farther inland and along the west coast of the state. Heavy rains will be tapering off in the next couple of hours, and then it looks like most of the rest of the day will be rain-free. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. A complete look at our 4-day forecast is minutes away, right here on New York's weather station, 1010 Wind at 92.3 FM.
I thank you, Joe. Watching that coverage was surreal as the storm moved through Florida. It made landfall as a Category 3. It was downgraded throughout the night, but its power and fury did not let up. AccuWeather saying places like St. Petersburg got around 19 inches of rain. That's like 4 months worth of rain in one night. Tampa, more than a foot.
Families in the dark.
We've lost power about 23 times, and then it's come back on. It's flickering.
More than 2 million power outages overnight. In Seminole, trees crashing down.
I've heard some things hitting my house, so I'm going to have to go inspect that in the morning when it's safe to go outside.
And in St. Petersburg,
My husband just told me to watch out for alligators.
a lake flooding this neighborhood.
Correspondent Lionel Louise, the worst of the storm has passed, but Tampa Mayor Jane Castor is still urging folks to stay inside.
Definitely don't drive around. Don't go through standing water, and make sure if you see any trees or wires down, call and report those, and we will get them fixed as quickly as we can.
The number of folks without power is now up over 3 million people. And within a couple of hours of making landfall, Milton ripping open part of the roof at Tropicana Field the home to the Tampa Rays.
Tropicana Field. Who would have ever thought that would happen? It was built because of the changeable weather in Florida. It was built as a dome because they wanted to make sure that we could play games in inclement weather.
And in times of crisis and destruction, the Red Cross kicks into action. Here in New York City, they're asking for volunteers to head down to Florida.
More than 2,000 Red Cross volunteers, many from the New York area, are on the ground right now, helping out at shelters in impacted areas of Florida and still the Carolinas as well. So not only are volunteers needed to head south, as a result of Milton and Helene, resources here in our area are pretty stretched. Here's Desiree Ramos-Reiner from the Red Cross of Greater New York.
And while those folks are down in the southeast supporting events that are happening there, here we are still responding to home fires and local floods that are happening. And so we still need people to help in the everyday emergencies that are happening here. And we provide all of the training that's necessary for both of these types of positions.
She tells us the training will take you 2.5 to 5 hours. Some of it can be done online. To sign up, redcross.org. Glenn Schuck, 1010 Wins, 92.3 FM.
And as Floridians start to assess how the damage from Milton is, or assess rather the damage from Milton, I should say, residents in North Carolina are still reeling from Hurricane Helene. And there's one pilot from Long Island who's heading that way with supplies for the victims.
Chaz Fort will be taking 2 trips to North Carolina. The Hale Site volunteer firefighter was part of an effort to collect items for the victims of the hurricane. He's also a pilot and will fly there today and Saturday to bring the hundreds of paper goods, baby items, and medical supplies.
This whole hurricane drive kind of started when the chief of the department, Dominic Spada, and he wanted to get something going since we did something similar for the Houston hurricane a few years back.
The plane was donated by another generous Long Islander.
The owner was generous enough to donate his aircraft for 2 round-trip flights to some of the hard-hit areas in North Carolina where trucks still can't access.
Sophia Hall, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM in Hale Site, Long Island.
Great job out of those folks. Hundreds of people showed up over the course of 2 days to donate items. Wins News Time, 7:47. Our other big story this morning. Citi Field, all kinds of whipped up into a frenzy last night as the Mets, who started the season at 0-5, are 4 wins away from the World Series.
The New York Mets are NLCS bound. They are going to the championship after beating the Phillies 4-1. A moment the fans say they'll never forget.
I feel amazing. I love the Mets. I love every second of this. And we're in the NLCS.
And the moment that changed this game when Francisco Lindor, the grand slam at the bottom of the 6th, bringing the Mets in the lead 4-1.
Very happy. Very, very happy. Best part, Lindor's home run. I mean, he should be the MVP.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's great. Better than when I wrote it for the Brooklyn Dodgers as a little girl. Mets fans say it's been a long season, but it was well worth the wait getting to this point. Mary Lynn Buckley, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM. Frank Citi Field.
Oh, sorry to see you go so soon, Phillies. By the way, my favorite call from last night, this one.
Viene Esteve, el lanzamiento, saca batazo, peligroso, profundo por el central, la pelota está tomando altura, de locura en el Citi Field, recogiendo porque los Mets, Paquito Lindor.
Oh boy, if I can only roll my tongue like that, man, I'd be a star.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new well.
All right, guys, that was cool. All right, hope you guys enjoyed the quick snippet of today's news. Thank you so much for supporting the channel by watching these videos. We know they're not the most exciting, the most entertaining, but I do know it's important to record our local tri-state area news as it happens. All right, we'll see you on the next episode.